Forge FC is ready to take the pitch.
Simply stunning stuff. And finally, their goal. My word, what a rocket.
Now, let's get 3 keys to the match with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hey, Forge fans, it's the Forge Audio Network. I'm Anthony Urciuoli. These are your 3 keys to the match presented by Volkswagen. Forge FC hosting Atletico Ottawa at Tim Hortons Field, 4 o'clock on Sunday as part of our Canada Day celebrations. And we invite you and your families to celebrate with us at Tim Hortons Field. And we have 3 keys here that will hopefully ensure that we can also celebrate a Forge FC victory after losing their last home match obviously at home against Valor FC. Here are your 3 keys to the match for Forge FC. Key number 1, break the blocks. Forge, you'll hear head coach and technical director Bobby Smirniotis talk a lot about blocks. Forge is always in this league, week to week, they are always facing mid and low blocks. What does that mean? 4 to 5 players lined up. It could be in the middle of the field. It's almost always in that final third for Forge too. Players are lining up on the other club, and it's what it sounds like. They're setting up blocks. They're lining up, hoping Forge makes bad passes into that coverage, and then the other club looks to go on the counter. Against Valor, Forge made a lot of mistakes. They passed into the blocks. Coach Bobby says, rule number 1, it's a hard rule here. We do not pass into a block. We move our feet, we move the ball, we get through the block, we find pockets, we find spaces, and we beat them with our tempo, with our speed, and of course with our passing. Forge did not execute that against Valor. They will look to get back to that. It's something they face every single week in this league because of their skill, because of their ability to attack and to score goals. Other clubs will line up and force Forge into mistakes. Rather than kind of going shot for shot, teams know they can't keep up that way, so they set up these blocks to try and slow Forge down and force mistakes, which Forge did a lot of last week. Not this week, though. In fact, I spoke to Coach Bobby this week about the blocks, and here is how he explains the way Forge tries to execute in beating those blocks.
Yeah, I think when defenders aren't shifting, there's no need to pass the ball. We need to make sure that defenders are shifting out of positions and we have them moving. It's always important to have defenders thinking about a couple of things at once, as opposed to just being locked in on the ball and trying to understand where it's going to go. If you have them thinking about the ball and the player that's beside him or the player that's in front of him moving, that always makes things a little bit more difficult. Something we do very well in most of the games, and something that wasn't sharp in the last game. And that gives an opportunity for teams that especially want to play on the counter. It gives them an opportunity to find the moments to break.
On Forge will most definitely face some blocks this week, which goes into our next key here. Key number 2, all about that chase. Force Atletico to chase the game. It's hard to sit back into those blocks when you're trailing, especially when you're trailing late, especially when you're trailing early. An early goal for Forge has always, for the most part, has led to a lot of success because now the other club cannot just sit back and block all game and allow Forge to possess the ball 65% of the time. Force Atletico out of their comfort zone. They're not a club that is built to play from behind. They're averaging around 1 goal per match. So when they get behind, they're forced to chase the game a little bit, and that even opens more up for Forge and their attack. Score early, hold a lead, force Atletico to chase the game, which they're not built to do. And if you're Forge, that only opens things up even more for your offense. All about that chase. Key number 3, back in the box. Forge FC, a big part of their success is how they've been attacking in that final third. Once they get into that attacking area, once they get the ball into the box, they're so dangerous. They have so much skill. When they get into a 1v1 situation, so it's one Forge attacker taking on one other defender, Forge is more often than not, they're going to be at an advantage with the skill they have up front. In order to create those 1v1s in dangerous areas, you have to get the ball into the box and you have to make some passes once you get in there, or you have to beat your man. Either way, it's all about getting into the box and attacking from there. Keep in mind, Atletico played Friday night. So They played Thursday. So they played Thursday. They're going to play again on Sunday. They played in Halifax. Now they're traveling to Hamilton, playing again on Sunday. Forge has been at home. They've been sleeping in their beds. They've had a long period, a rare long period where they get to just be comfortable. Sometimes that can work against you. But it's Atletico that should be the more tired squad going into this match. And it bodes well for Forge to make Atletico chase, to attack in that final third and in the box. And it should be that much, we won't say easier, but if you're the team with more energy and more tempo, you should be able to beat those blocks as well. Now, big opportunity for Forge. They trail Atletico by 4 points in the CPL table, and they have 2 games in hand. So a big match to make up some ground against a squad that is ahead of you in the standings. Now, if you choose to, and I highly recommend you do, celebrate Canada Day weekend with us, with Forge FC, and at Tim Hortons Field. Players will be signing autographs and taking photos before the match by the Stipley in the South Plaza, so side opposite of the scoreboard. There'll be plush Canada soccer ball giveaways after the match, which of course is fun. The usual $5 beers from when the gates open until kickoff, so between 3 and 4, beers will be $5. And families on the pitch. 15 minutes after the end of the match, people are encouraged to come down and kick around on the pitch and take photos if you'd like. All right, stage is set. So much fun happening this weekend. Canada Day weekend at Tim Hortons Field. Forge FC taking on Atletico. And as we celebrate Canada Day, hopefully Forge will celebrate victory and we can be a part of that. All right, I'll be there. I hope to see you there. We'll talk to you soon.
Forge FC is ready, and now you are too. This has been 3 Keys to the Match on the Forge Audio Network. Keep up to date on your Forge FC by subscribing to the Forge Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.